Welcome to episode 175 of the Startup Show. Today I have the CEO and co-founder of Lionstep, Claudia, stopping by here at the studio, and we are talking about Lionstep and that she knows both sides of the table as an investor and founder of a company, but we also talk about the future of the human resource industry, and last but not least, she gives us some advice on why we should try more. Make sure you stay tuned for the whole video and enjoy. Welcome to episode 175 of the Startup Show. Today we are here at the studio. Claudia, thank you so much for stopping by here, and I'm very excited to talk to you about your startup. Let's talk first about who you are. So maybe take it away. Tell everybody who you are.
Yes, thank you very much, Cedric, for the talk today. It's a pleasure to be here, as always. I'm Claudia. I'm 31 years old now. I'm working since 3 years at Lionstep. Before I studied economics and management at University of Zürich and worked in strategy consulting and finances, specifically private equity.
One of the things that I saw is that you're also investing. So you're kind of like on both sides of the table. You have your own startup, but you're also investing. How is that like fit into the bigger picture?
I think it's always, as you said, to be on both sides is very helpful to understand the challenges and the difficulties of both sides. So that is very good to see the operational side on my own and to also see it in other companies.
So what kind of like, just like to get a little glimpse in like where do you invest?
I'd like to invest in things that I also understand. Yeah. So maybe medicine and biotech is not really the thing to do.
Yes.
But I'd say e-commerce, online things, HR, recruiting stuff, things that I really tend to understand,
Yes. Okay, I don't want to go too much into this because I think what you do at Lionstep is super fascinating. Also, to give a little bit of a disclaimer, HR is very close to my heart because I think it's one of the industries that really need like a soon to come like turnover in the industry, because I think it's so outdated at the moment and so much time consuming. Maybe tell everybody like what Lionstep does so we first understand kind of like where we stand.
No, I absolutely agree. It has to turn and it will turn. There are many companies outside that work on it. So basically Lionstep is a digital recruiting company that offers recruiting services with the support of technology that we develop on our own. So we're always at the brink of new technologies. We try to deliver services to a reasonable pricing because also the price point in this market is quite a difficult topic. And we'd also try to connect people faster in a more efficient way and with more fun for both sides, first candidates and also companies.
At the first sight, when you look at it, like it looks still very similar because like you kind of like the thing that is proprietary by you is like the software. So like maybe it's not such a difference from someone who's looking outside, but maybe you can explain a little bit what makes it so unique, let's say for your clients, and maybe define who your clients are. And then like we maybe get a little bit of a deeper understanding.
So our clients are, this is, I would say, one of the main differences to other companies are globally present. We have big clients. Like one of our core clients I always like to mention, and we started off with, is Telefónica in Spain. So this is one of our major clients that are globally. Then we have now clients in Asia, we have clients in America, we have clients in the UK. So we are capable with headquarters in Switzerland without any really like operating offices in other countries to deliver services that are global. So we always say we go across borders. We have 3 tiers. We have the smaller ones, which are startups and smaller companies. And there for startups, we always try to also find a suitable solution. And we really, as also with my investor heart, I try to bring people together that makes sense and to help people to grow, to help companies to grow. Then we have mid-tier companies that have a hiring need 2 or 3 times a year. There we have some standard packages you can buy and spend some. We have some Lionstep coins. This is our currency that we created. You can spend some coins on candidates and services there. And then we also have now a growing mass of companies in tier 3, we call it. It's big corporations. And there we have some also on our website displayed our key clients that have a current and constant hiring needs, and we support with everything they need.
So maybe you can walk me through the process. Someone who is now looking to hire, like let's say Telefonica is looking to hire someone, what's happening now? Like how do you help them?
So first of all, as in every other business, we try to get a really deep understanding of what they're looking for, what their challenges are, and where they're heading in the next few months. We all incorporate this, and you get your now dedicated success manager in Lionstep. So every company has still a human facing that is ready to talk to them. And then we go out and we look at, we collected publicly available data sources. We are aligned with GDPR. This is also something that we have to take into account, especially because we're operating also in the European Union. It's an algorithm that we developed, and it's a technology that we developed. We also now then have quality managers that look at the results that we get for the needs for the company. We go out and then ask the individuals that we found online all over the world that could be suitable for this company. We go out and ask them if they would be interested in looking at the company and talking to us before they go to the company about some killer questions, some filter criteria for the company. This might be something very technical, like he needs to know JavaScript, but also something maybe not so technical, like we only like to have people in our office that like dogs or cats because we have an office dog. And so we have the automated part where we get the efficiency from, where we can also then create those, or basically pass those efficiency gains to our clients in form of lower prices. And then we have this human factor where we still talk to every candidate that we would like then to bring to the client. And we also talk to every client and we get feedback on both sides.
So like you basically pre-select, pre-screen, and then you offer kind of like on a silver tablet, like 5 or 6 candidates to the company, and then they pick one.
Yes, offering works through an account of the company. Yeah. So you have a digital account. This is also one major difference you have from other personal agencies. You have an account. During the whole process, you see which candidates we ask. You see in which state we are, if we connected them already, if we communicated to them already, if we have feedback. If we have feedback, we have the feedback analytics. This means why people might not be interested. It's not that they pick one. They might pick one or they might not pick one, but our final service delivery is that we bring 5 to 6 people. We always say quality over quantity. 5 to 6 people that are vetted, first pre-screened by us, found by us, and then presented in the client account. And then the client can communicate with them and go on and do whatever they want. The biggest difference there is that we do not charge on success.
Yes, that would be my next question.
That's why I say the end of our process is not where the client in the end picks one of those candidates to offer them a job or him or her a job, but it's there where we say we are basically a job board bringing very qualified candidates. When you have a success fee, you also have certain incentives that push you as a company to push the client or the candidate to a very, very high salary or to the highest salary possible, because in the end, your success fee is connected to the salary. Yes. And we in Lionstep believe that this is not a successful and not a healthy way of bringing people together. As monetary incentives are not that important anymore, it's more the benefits. Still, they're very important.
You have to live.
Yes, but also research shows that the monetary incentive is not always on prio one anymore. So it's also more about benefits and what do I get from the company culture? How far is it away from my home? Can I go and bring my children to school or whatever? So those are things that are very important that cannot be measured in salary in the end. So that's why we think that pushing salaries to outer boundaries is not really healthy, and why I think that our business model is much more sustainable also for the future. Yep. So companies only pay, as in a normal job posting, for the people that basically apply. The difference is that the people that apply via Lionstep are first pre-screened by us, sometimes are also found by the company itself. They say we want this person, that person to be asked if they're interested or not. So it's very similar to a job posting, but we bring back very qualified candidates.
So what would you say like are, let's say, some of the biggest challenges that you face like now specifically while building, let's say, from an operational perspective? Like how was it like for you to build like the first steps and now the first 3 years of building Lionstep?
So Lionstep has many parts that are similar to a software as a service company. You have a digital product, you have a lot of software development involved. At this point in time, 30-40% of the people employed are still working in software development. This means this is a software development company. So we had this one part. You know that it's not easy to build software, right? And you have different components and you have legacies and stuff. So this was one part. When I started Lionstep, I had no idea of software development. I have never led an IT project team. So this was a challenge for me. We did many mistakes, but we survived. Luckily, we now have a very, very good software development team, our own team, and I love them. They're doing a great job, and we have also a very good product team, product development team. The other part is that as our, let's say, pricing is not that high and we do not incorporate those high margins as others do, we need to have also volume business. But we are in a human business. This means we're connecting people with people. So volume is not maybe the right word to use. Yes. So that's always a bit the difficulty. But for the operations, it's important to understand that we operate in a lower margin business. This means all processes need to be super, super efficient and without losing that human touch. And this was also a challenge. So now we have many people at the office here in Switzerland. We have an office in Romania, the software developers. And then we have we call them our Uber recruiters. Those are people that like to talk on the phone with the candidates and that like to ask the candidates those questions, but they do not sit at our office. So they can sit at home. We have working moms that wanted to go back, or moms that want to go back to work and do the job. We have students that do the job. We have a lot of people that worked in recruiting that wanted to have one leg back in, and they can work from home. They get their computer, they can plug in. And this was also one of the challenges we had, that you first establish a culture also with the Uber recruiters basically outside, to have a cost control over them, to have a quality control what they're doing, because this is important. In the end, they are the business card for Lionstep. They go outside. This was also one of the challenges we had to face. And there I must say, I do not have shares of Slack, but Slack is one hell of a really, really good platform to connect people when you have teams that are remote and that are all over the world. Jiffies and Slack. Okay. So send a lot of funny Jiffies in all possible Slack channels if this is your company culture, and have a very easy way of communicating there.
Very interesting. We use WhatsApp in our.
WhatsApp is also good.
We use WhatsApp. I'm sure, like the recruiting space, especially when you look at headhunters, is a very well-established industry, and I'm sure you're facing some challenges on that side also. How do you deal with this? What are some of the main challenges that you see, let's say, coming from within the industry, from such a young company that tries to kind of eat the market share?
The market of headhunters and personal agencies is very fragmented. Yes. And it's always easier to get market shares from a fragmented market. So this for us, we had it's easier. We had an easy start. We always track why in sales people do not buy Lionstep, and having already another personal agency at hand or using another personal agency is a very rare reason. So this means people are not really locked into a relationship to a personal agency. So for us, competition coming from inside the market is not that big as in other markets. The competition that we have now, and this is good for us, is not really competition, but it's our own clients establishing an own employer branding and an own understanding of how to recruit people with the support of Lionstep. So
you use your own software for finding your employers?
We use our own software, yes. And we also help companies outside to establish their own proper recruiting department, to establish a more, let's say, conscious thinking about what HR really means in a company. This is also something that we could talk hours for hours, because I think this was left out somewhere in the management courses, that there is a department that's also quite important. Competition within the market is not really a competition that we are feeling actively, luckily.
So what's ahead of you, like in terms of Lionstep? Where do you see the next couple of years? What kind of like are your goals?
I'm super excited. We're all super excited. First of all, I have to say that I'm really, really happy. We have a great team. We are all together in a boat rowing and having fun and bringing back, hopefully, really good quality to our clients. We're growing in Germany. We're growing in Austria now. We have our first trials in Asia, first trials in UK, in the US that we did successfully. So the next years are growing with Lionstep, making more people happy, connecting more people. What I always say and what we also feel is with a growing customer base towards now 1,000 is that we also get a certain responsibility of being the first mover in a market. We are not the first mover, but we are the first, let's say, bigger movers. And you also have a responsibility of not guiding, but of showing what challenges are lying ahead, not only for us, but also the whole market. So we also would like to invest more time into events, bringing clients together, and also on the other hand, and then that's the third pillar on what we're basing our future, is our candidate community. What we hear very often daily from candidates is we really like Lionstep because it's a different approach of, let's say, communication. We like transparency because we always mention the name of our clients. We have innovative job postings where they're interactive, they can do different stuff. So we hear every day, hey, Lionstep, you're doing a really good job. I get so many messages from recruiters and I never reply, but with you I do. Hopefully they do not say this to everybody. But this is also one pillar we're basing on, to do something for the candidates, the talent community, to bring back value to them. In a nutshell, to go on with a growing client base, to connect the best people to the best companies.
Yes. And what do you see like in terms of funding? I mean, like if I'm informed correctly, you've never taken outside money, but like nevertheless, if you want to scale, you probably know as an investor, it's sometimes hard and you probably need that capital at some point. Where do you stand with that?
Yeah, scaling is like this, in German we would say Gretchen question, this question that's always present. I am very, very happy that we did not take outside funding until now, because I think we spent the money in a more conscious way, because we did not have that much money to spend. But I do not blame. I think it's also great to take funding. It's important if you have big steps, investments to do, or scale steps. For us at the moment, still, we do not need investment to scale up fast, because we have very short sales processes and we have a good cash flow, a stable cash flow, and we can grow out of this cash flow, which makes us very happy.
I would like to now shift the conversation a little bit towards the industry. I mean, like I'm sure as someone who is like deep inside like the HR industry, like you've thought a little bit of like where HR is going to be in like 10, 20 years. I know it's very far and it's probably needs a lot of imagination, but I think that's what makes this question like so interesting. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit of like how your ideal situation, and feel free to obviously include Lionstep, but more like also like a holistic approach of like, how do you see people are going to find or be found, maybe giving away a little bit, a job in 20 years from now?
Very good question. We also had an event in May regarding this topic together with Kupel, and I'm mentioning Kupel staff finder.
He was on the show.
Former, yes, exactly, Victor. I think we share a common vision, and it's not only us, it's also others that are deep in this topic, that the market will change in that direction, that maybe at one point an employee is not a fixed employee of one company, but will have like one, we call it home, maybe outside of your home. You have a home base where you're employed there, and then you're lent on a project base to other companies. Because what we see also in research is that employment length tends to get shorter. This means in IT project, we see that already, people stay for one project or up to 2 years and then they leave because it's back. It's back for our business. It's good for our business, but going back to monetary incentives, it's not only the monetary incentive, it's also how challenging I feel in the project, etc. We predict that this will also happen in other industries, in other areas of our market, and that in the end you will have this, maybe it's not created yet, but this company or whatever it is, this organization where you're part of it, and then you from there you job hop and you go from project to project. So people do not have to be found, I guess. People would like to come to this organization because they want get not only monetary incentives out of it, but also maybe cultural fit, connecting to other people. So it's more about connection on a higher level.
When you look at kind of like the optimization, so let's say we agree HR department is very important, but like what will be kind of like the role of HR?
Yeah.
Like now, switching the side from the employee to the employer.
When we keep that thought where we say that culture is very, very important and that there is another level of a cultural fit and of benefits that an employee gets out of a company, we come to the conclusion that we need people in HR that are not, of course, that is administrative stuff, as in every other department that has to be done, can also be automated to some point, but there is one part, and many companies are working on this, especially in the US, in Silicon Valley, where you have HR as sort of a employee experience department. Yep. So as we have user experience on our websites, and we really think about when the user clicks there, what happens then? How can I bring him to do this? I want that. How's the conversion rate? That you really take the same mindset and apply it to HR, to the people working at your company. And this not only starts when somebody starts a job at your company. This also starts with employer branding, how you present yourself outside on the market. It might be that a person is not the ideal candidate for this job, but you should always take care of him because he might be the ideal candidate for a job in 3 or 4 project. That's why we say the same skills that we now use in UX, UI, very psychological as well. You need some skills, human behavior, behavioral economics, behavioral finance. You need also those skills to be successful in the future of HR, an HR department that is a talent, an employee experience department more than just an administrative part of the
Interesting.
company.
I follow Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yes.
And he is a chief heart officer.
Yep, absolutely. No, also.
So he's very much at the forefront of all of this.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I see you're also a coach at VentureLab.
Yes.
So I'm curious to hear a little bit about how you perceive the Swiss startup ecosystem. What are your thoughts? Maybe a little bit critical also, like what could be improved? Where do you stand there?
I love being part of the VentureLab team, and I also have courses at University of Zürich. Sometimes I go there. I think it's important to also...
As a lecturer.
Yes, as a lecturer. I think it's very important to give something back. But I also have to learn and then always have to give back. The Swiss startup industry is really, really good. We have many, many smart people coming out of our universities, coming out of different really good companies. I mean, we have also the best companies in the world outside, in Zurich, Basel, Zug, Geneva, Lausanne, wherever. So we have people coming out of those cities and also out of the universities. So first of all, I think the base is brilliant. People are really, really good and they think things through. What I feel at the moment is, and this is, we all know, and from a political perspective, money is here. There is enough money to fund basically the whole world, right? Yes. And this is also is a reality that people know. When we talk about criticism, but this is also then my duty and the duty of all the lecturers and all the coaches, is to give a clear understanding of financials and to have a clear understanding that financials matter and that you need to have a healthy view on your financials. So this is sometimes something that I miss. Also in education, everybody has a lot of ideas. Everybody is tackling them in a good way, but to also have on the other side a really good understanding on financials and how they work, how an income statement works, how business models work. Is this profitable or not? Is this a sustainable business model or not? And to maybe think a bit more about this. But we are working on it.
I mean, sometimes what I hear as kind of like the criticism in the Swiss startup ecosystem is that like the salaries are already very high, and to take this leap of faith of like going away from a corporate where you have a guaranteed high salary to a very minimal salary at a startup is sometimes very tough. And on the management level, sometimes never, like many people, as you said, have good ideas, but then they maybe never take action. What do you think of this?
Yes, absolutely. When you go outside and you talk to, might it be somebody from consulting or banking, everybody's like, oh, I would like to like leave my job and start something new, but this will never change. I mean, this is not only in Switzerland, this is, I guess, all over the world. This is just the internal need or the wish to change something in a situation. This is very, very human. So I don't think that we should push more into the direction of people taking that leap of faith. We have high salaries in Switzerland, but this, in a macro perspective, also brings us to that point that Switzerland is still very, very competitive. So we get a lot of good people, and now talking out of the Lionstep experience, high salaries are needed because people come from other countries to Switzerland because we need them. They work on the productivity and the profitability in the companies. So I think it's a good thing to have this. But if somebody really thinks that his business model is can be sustainable and his idea is something that needs to be done right now, then you also, if you then have the proper financial understanding of your business model, you can calculate that maybe in 2 or 3 years you will be back at the salary you had before, and then even higher one. So in the end, if you can calculate right and you have a financial understanding, the salary you got before should not matter that much.
What is your biggest fear?
Of misunderstanding people in my company and not having an understanding of how parts of the company function. In the end, not have enough feeling of the health of the company. Yes.
How do you deal personally with failure?
People that know me would say that I'm a very, very positive person. Yeah. I see the glass of water always to the fullest. So,
it can be totally empty, but like, oh.
Absolutely. So failure is there, and embrace failure, learn from it, be positive.
How do you make sure you have a positive company culture?
First, it starts with me.
Yes.
As long as I'm very positive and I listen to people, I hope that also the company culture is positive. Listen to people and give back and look out for them. Make sure that they have also here a home away from home.
Yes. What do you think is the most important character in an entrepreneur?
The one that never gives up.
Okay, not talent, nothing, just don't give up.
The one that never gives up.
Okay. What's your tip for balancing work and life? This was sent in a few times by some of the contributors. Okay. To have healthy relationships with your partner, with your parents, with your friends. Because if you have another, I always call them construction works surrounding you, and not only in your business, if you have another construction zone out in your life, you will never reach that work-life balance as well. So I think healthy relationships are super important. To be balanced. Yes, something that I already mentioned, have a look at that finance book. But here is also maybe the investor and talking in me and having this experience. Advice to my younger self, don't take things too serious and look at more in earlier days. I worked a lot also during my studies. I always had almost a full-time work besides that. And I think this is really important to have, at a very young age, not only do studies, not only do theoretical stuff, but also go out,
and be in the field,
Yes.
feel how things work. I would love to go back and do more.
Interesting, because I mean, like I feel very fortunate that I was able to start all of this here while I was studying, because there's basically no one asking you too many questions, because you can just try things. So I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
Trying during during the studies.
Absolutely. And one more thing that also came with age is really listen to more experienced people. I think listening is also a skill that is in everyone, but not really used by everyone. So listen also to people that have experience in your field, not only in your field, that have had a life full of entrepreneurship, that had a life working at big companies, because basically that's the only way to get some knowledge transfer. You feel it on your own,
Yes.
or you hear it from somewhere and maybe can incorporate some things that you heard into your daily routines.
Okay, Claudia, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you very much.
Everybody who stayed all the way till the end. Make sure you stay a few more seconds so you see who is up next week, and have a great day and have a great week.
Hello everyone, my name is Yannick Butler. I'm the founder of NeoViso, and next week I talk to Cedric about my company and especially about Generation Z, so the young people of today, why they are important to look at, what their attributes are, and what we can expect from the future from them as an employer, but also as a marketer who needs to develop